I think that's a great segue into a question I have for you, Bonnie, which is, the future of this industry. We've kind of already kind of hinted at some things. I think you just touched on, AI and automation and all of that fun stuff. But as we look ahead, we obviously have a limited view as everyday producers, but what are some trends that you're excited about? What are some things that you think are on the horizon or are here to stay, that recruiters should prepare themselves for, maybe even get excited for? What are the trends that get you going and get you excited for this next wave?
Yeah. I mean, I really do think like a lot of it is going to be AI and automation. And so I've been trying to upskill myself and understand both like what those things mean. And I think it's going to be important for us in two ways. One, I think any tech company that wants to stay relevant is going to be AI, both as a buzzword and hopefully in really materially important ways. They're going to want to build AI forward technology and things like that. And so to be an effective recruiter, you're going to need to be able to talk the talk with talent. You're going to need to be able to assess who actually has skills and who just knows how to play on ChatGPT. Those sorts of things so I think staying up to date and current there is going to be really important for us. And then for us to figure out ways to use that in our work. I do think companies are going to expect talent acquisition to operate at a leaner, much leaner than we did. I mean, we've all, I'm sure, seen the viral post and video from Maddie about working at Meta for, almost 200K a year and not making a single hire or something like, y'all know what I'm talking about.
I don't think I've seen this.
No, I've not seen
Wow.
this.
Okay.
Feel left out.
Yeah, you
I know.
do. It went very viral and got featured in a magazine, but I'll just do a quick little sidebar. She made a post about how she was at Meta for a year and they just expected her to like onboard all year and she didn't have any like goal to hire anyone. She was making like 197K and people got really upset with her and acted like it was her fault, but it's not her fault. They hired her and those were the goals they set and the expectation they gave her. And the reality is, I don't think any company is going to do that ever again. Like, that is ridiculous. Nobody and I don't think they're going to operate that way. I think they're going to expect a lot greater productivity. And so I think recruiters who are able to manage high volume and who are able to use tools and systems to manage that well and still create a great personalized candidate experience. I just think that's what is going to be expected and kind of be the bar. So I would focus there. And then I also would focus on your personal brand, because I saw a stat this morning that said something like for Gen Z, 70% of purchases are driven by influencers now. Like company advertising doesn't matter. Influencer marketing matters. And I've also seen stats that like Gen Z doesn't necessarily trust recruiters the way that they trust employees of companies, as an example. But they're looking for more of like, we want the real story. We don't want to be sold. We want to hear the authentic truth of like working somewhere. So if you are able to build a personal brand, build trust with people, I think that's going to carry people far. Because there will be a natural distrust in the same way there's distrust of big corporations for buying things. I think the same is true. Like after these layoffs, people aren't going to trust companies. But I think they're going to trust humans who work at those companies and the stories they tell. And so I think any recruiter who invests in their personal brand is going to have a real advantage.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why we're investing in personal brand resources for our team here.
Yeah.
And we have a relatively small team. I think we're just over 100 people, but for us, it's an incredible, from what we're seeing, like it's an incredible opportunity to leverage your personal network. And people are interested. People are interested in people, and they're interested in what they're working on, right? It's like all the bells and whistles, and this is like employer branding talk, right? Like we could talk about how effective employer branding actually is. But at the end of the day, people connect with people, and they, people that they know, they like, and they trust. And I think the other element of that is they want to see what you're working on. Is it interesting? Like, is the mission behind the company compelling, right? And so I agree with you 100%. I think the opportunity, especially for recruiters, this is kind of a thesis I've had, which is, it's going to be really important for recruiters to become brand ambassadors. And I know that could be taken a couple different ways. I don't mean the person who's just sharing company jobs on their page and, basically being kind of a 2.0 of what the company page looks like. I'm talking about somebody that is really good at connecting with people, talking about key topics, but looping it all around this ecosystem of what the company is doing.
Yep.
That is a really unique and hard thing to do, to intertwine what you're doing
Yeah.
within your company, but then also build true valuable connection with people. And I
Yeah.
think the people that do that really well, they become the face of their company, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people know, you know, they know people because or they know brands because of
They
people.
know the company
So
because of how the people that work there. Yeah. And then it makes
exactly.
you less, it it makes you more indispensable to the company. It gives you value beyond what you do day to day.
Exactly.
When the company is getting value from you in multiple ways. And it also, yeah, it just gives you a leg up. It gives you something to
Totally.
negotiate around and, you know, so
It's very important. I endorse, what you said, Andrew, about kind of brand ambassador. I'm on that train. I think that, something that recruiters, they're coming out of the woodwork. You're starting to see a lot more kind of TA professionals get into the whole content creation and brand
yeah,
representation. Some are doing it really well. Some kind of do it and fizzle out. It's
yeah,
hard. It's hard, but it's absolutely true. Like, you think about it, you think of Meta, the names come to mind. Amazon, the names come to mind. If we start throwing out certain startups, names come to
yeah,
mind.
Mhm.
And it's funny how powerful, regardless of how good that person might be at their actual 9 to 5 job, they have a really
yeah,
good presence. And that is, in my opinion, that is a huge value component for companies.
I totally agree.
Because you look into the data about it, and it's like, oh, so and so joined the company, and since they've been here, the traffic to our careers page has tripled, quadrupled.
Mhm.
And to Bonnie's point earlier about trust, people do not trust companies. Like, relocation is very, very difficult because of COVID, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also very difficult because of company trust. Like, I'm not, I'm not going to move halfway across the country from Florida to California when
Yeah.
my job longevity might be 12 months.
Or
Mhm.
I might, yeah, get laid off as I'm getting on the moving truck the way they'll tell that story on
Exactly.
it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
very challenging. So companies, TA teams, I think, need to really focus on being able to elevate company trust again. And
Yeah.
I think a big part of that is through recruiters being able to intertwine, like Andrew said, intertwine their kind of personal branding
Yeah.
with the company.